Okay, so here we have €1, right hand, up over the left shoulder. Okay, so here we are, Roma Termini. So for the majority of people, once catching the train from the airport, and for my case, from Florence, you'll arrive at this train station, the Roma Termini. Now, very exciting, we're in Rome. How are we going to get to the hotel? If you've got a suitcase, I'd advise a taxi. Myself, a small backpack today. So I'm going to walk it. Google Maps is wonderful, makes it so much easier. So that's what I'm going to do now, put the address into Google Maps, walk to the hotel. I've got a tour in an hour and a half, so I've got to keep going, okay? Talk to you soon. Now from here, you can walk to the Trevi Foutain, for instance, in about 30 minutes. Suitcase, it's got to be a taxi. It's too hard with cobbles and so on. But a light backpack, you could walk it if you enjoy your walking. Now, just before we start exploring, Roma Termini is just there. Now, I'll put the Hotel Smeraldo, into the Google Maps, and basically, this is where I walked. And the hotel was there. So I quickly checked in, and then I had a very short walk to the Pantheon, as we can see. Fantastic spot. From there, the Trevi Foutain. It's signposted along the way, and it's a very direct walk then down to the Altare della Patria, the altar of the fatherland. And that is just here. And you can see then we've got the Forum and the Colosseum very, very close. So it's a very easy walk to the Forum, and you get some fabulous views from the roadside because ancient Rome is several metres below the current level of the road. And from there down to the Colosseum, where I finished the day. And then it was just a matter of backtracking this way. I cut through back to the hotel. Now, along the way, you've got lots of opportunities to spot, particularly near the hotel, to spot nice little restaurants and so on. So, yes, TripAdvisor is good and the current restaurants and so on, but you'll see there's lines, long lines to get in for a feed. There's so many restaurants. Use your best judgment, your instinct, and pick one close to your hotel. That's my advice anyway. So this was day one, and in total we had 26,000 steps. As I said, the red bus, hop on, hop off, is another option for you. But wear comfortable shoes, and good luck. I really enjoyed this first day in Rome. So my video clip follows exactly the course I took throughout the day. Happy travelling. So the first glimpse of the Pantheon, ancient Roman structure. Look at it, it's just magnificent. So I've got to beat the line entry ticket, so I'll just see how we go, and I'm not waiting too long because that's the key to Rome, not standing in queues and losing your precious time. Now the inscription on this ancient 2,000-year-old building refers to Marcus Agrippa being responsible for its construction between 27 BC and 14 AD. Although we now know that Emperor Hadrian rebuilt the Pantheon long after Agrippa's death, approximately 125 AD. Okay, so here's my line here, and have a look if you're lining up and you haven't pre-purchased a ticket. There we go. And look, it was easy as that. Just pre-purchase your ticket, straight in. So let me show you around the Pantheon, and let's just enjoy the magnificence of this structure that's just survived centuries and centuries. And our first look at inside the Pantheon, that perfect dome that just confounded future architects like Brunelleschi back in Florence 1,000 years later. So the oculus above me, it's pretty amazing when you think about it. Emperor Hadrian wanted that opening to have a closer connection to the gods. And look, in reality, if that had been completely closed, the dome would have been too heavy to stay up there. The engineering behind this dome was amazing, and Brunelleschi in the 14th century came down from Florence because he could not successfully copy this dome now. The opening, yes, when it rains, water does enter, but the upward draft created with the dome apparently helps condense the water droplets. But if it's very, very heavy, there are quite a few drainage holes, as you can see here. Combine the drainage holes with the fact that this is a concave floor means that the water does not connect within. Just amazing, isn't it? To think about all of this was created 1st, 2nd century AD. As I leave the Pantheon, my advice is certainly pre-book your entry ticket because it's just going to save you so much time. And incredibly, each of the 16 columns that support the grand portico were carved from single granite stones, quarried and then transported all the way from Egypt to here in Rome. So look, just up ahead is the Trevi Foutain. So I'm expecting pretty sizable numbers here because look, I was in Rome 1 year ago actually with the children, and it's noticeably much busier. Admittedly it's the middle of the day, but the crowds are certainly up. Everyone's travelling now, that's for sure. So Trevi, broke it down into two words, Tre, three, and Via, street. So this was the intersection of three streets back in the 18th century, and there's a good water supply here too. So the Pope at the time, I think it was Pope Clement XII, ran a competition to design the Trevi Fountain. It's iconic, isn't it? And look at the crowds. So this guy on the left, he's sweeping the coins to create that line, whilst on the right he's got a vacuum and the coins are being sucked up into the container right here. Now, did you know about 3,000 euro worth of coins are donated each day? People throwing the coin in, and for many they're making a wish, but throwing the coin in is really guaranteeing your return here back to Rome at some stage in the future. And look, I contributed my own euro as well, you saw that in the video. And look, this time last year I threw a coin in too. Guess what? Here I am today, back here in Rome. So I guess it works. And look, as a final wrap up, get here early, that's for sure. Look at the crowds here. And they're loving it. A lot of money being thrown into the fountain too, by the way. So behind me, Altare della Patria, the altar of the fatherland. Huge structure, contemporary structure in relation to Rome, isn't it? 19th century, built to commemorate Italy becoming a nation and to also celebrate the first king of Italy, Victor Emmanuel. So there's some great viewing on the very top, so I encourage you to explore that. I'm going to go up in a minute and show you some of the views. And behind this magnificent building is the Forum and the Colosseum, where I'm also heading later today. A lot to take in Rome. I'm telling you, it's walkable, but you need comfy shoes and a plan in place so that you're not losing time wandering aimlessly, which can happen. Andiamo, let's go. Now, the bronze statue, the first king of Italy. Now, that statue you'll see in most cities of Italy. Here, for example, the same statue in Verona, the first king of Italy. That statue is in most major cities in Italy. And also, here's another example in Florence. Here I am in Florence. It's about 1.6k, 1 mile west along the Arno River, as we bid the first king of Italy farewell. Let's get back to my episode. Okay, let's go in and have a bit of an explore of the Altare della Patria, the altar of the fatherland. And look, that's another way to do it. Jump on the green bus, red bus. But you're missing out on the step count, aren't you?
Video. Prima che me ne scordo. Siamo arrivati.
Devo ammettere che anche le
So we're on the terrace of the Altare della Patria. There we go, Vatican City, straight ahead. We'll check that out tomorrow. And that's the way I walked to Trevi Foutain, about a kilometre straight ahead. Okay, so from the Altare della Patria we can get our first glimpse of the Colosseum in the background, and in the foreground here the Forum. It's a great vantage point up here. It's well worth paying €14. You get a really good snapshot of Rome in its entirety. And we're not doing it by steps either, we're in the elevator. So it made it very, very easy. Now the Colosseum, I'm doing a night tour there later on at about 5 p.m, so it'll be dark, and we're going underneath to see where the gladiators were kept, the animals and so on. Okay, so I'm leaving the altar of the fatherland, that magnificent marble building, and heading down towards the Forum, the political, religious, commercial hub of ancient Rome. And from this vantage point we get our first glimpse of the Forum. So the Forum behind me in all its splendour. Use your imagination what this must have looked like back in those ancient Roman times. The commercial, political, religious centre of ancient Rome. Now you can probably see behind me the beautiful silhouette of the Colosseum lit up. Now I've just finished the night tour. It's well worth it, it really is. You avoid the crowds, and this night tour was exploring beneath the Colosseum floor where the gladiators and wild animals were, minus the crowds. And it's spectacular at night too, lit up with the stonework, so it's something to think about. Look, I'll show you some footage during the day and the footage I got just now for you to make a bit of a comparison. But I'm really impressed with what I experienced tonight. You know, I have experienced a day tour as well previously, about a year ago. This is right up there, particularly because I'm a bit of a gladiator movie fan myself too, so it was good to get down there and use your imagination and just get a feel for what it must have been like. What a brutal way to live your life as a gladiator. An iconic structure, isn't it? It's amazing. You believe this iconic structure was built in only a decade, 10-year period from 70 AD to 80 AD. Located in the heart of the city of Rome, the Colosseum enjoys the status of being the largest amphitheatre in the world and is one of the 7 wonders of the world. But beneath the wooden Colosseum floor that staged many gladiatorial events and animal hunts, there was a whole other world. The Ludus Magnus, as we see here, was a gladiatorial training school. It was built by Emperor Domitian in the late 1st century AD. As we see, it was situated directly to the east of the Colosseum in order to provide gladiators with direct access to the Colosseum via an underground passage. And look, the advantage of a night tour. No one here. The tour now takes us underneath the Colosseum to enjoy the wonderful sensory experiences that are on offer. It is now time to use our imaginations. Perhaps no figure from ancient Rome is as famous as the gladiator, a warrior of the arena that fought to the death against animals, criminals and other gladiators, all for the entertainment of the Roman society. Gladiators have become significant historical figures, in part thanks to famous works from Hollywood, like the film Gladiator or the classic Spartacus. I just wonder what it must have really been like down here. During performances, this underground area must have been a hive of activity, as well as being the waiting area for the gladiators before they were led out to the stage. It was also the holding area for all of the caged animals. What an impressive feat of architecture to build the maze of tunnels, corridors and elevators that were cleverly concealed beneath the Colosseum. Just an amazing building, isn't it? Now look, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, day 1 here in this magnificent city of Rome. There's so much to see, so much to do. You've just got to plan your trip accordingly. If you're like me and you enjoy your walking, hey, go for it. 26,000 steps for day 1. And I know day 2 is going to be up there as well. Otherwise, the red bus, hop on, hop off. That'll save your legs. Or you just jump in a taxi, but it gets a little bit expensive. Perhaps you can share the cost if you're travelling with a small group, so that's another option. But I guess I really want you to plan your trip here to get the most out of it, and also beat the line tickets. It's a must. Or you arrive here nice and early. The Pantheon opens at 9, and there's people lined up 20 minutes, probably 30 minutes before that to get in nice and early. But you're still standing in line, aren't you? Now, if you've enjoyed this episode, please share and like, subscribe, bell notifications on. I'll see you next episode, day 2 here in Rome. Ciao.